Hello to my beautiful collectives out there. Welcome to my channel, Astro Cheryl. And this is your forecast for your astrology forecast, that is for February 2026. Wow, time is passing us right by. And before we get started, I just want to share with you some of the things that I want to point out for the month because this is a fast month because we only have 28 days in February. So things are moving pretty rapidly at this time. And when I say 2026, it brings to mind that in Ethiopia, they're only in 2018 because of the calendar that they use. So we're here, they're there, and their calendar is a solar calendar, whereas ours is the Gregorian calendar. But with their calendar, their body is more accustomed to the earth because it being a solar calendar, when the sun rises, that's when the time begins. When the sun sets, that's when the time ends. Okay, and I think that's important because we are, as a collective, our frequency on the planet is being reset because we're in the age of Aquarius, right? And the feminine Kundalini energy is rising, so that is creating change, and that's why in the Americas we see that government system breaking down because the Kundalini energy is about not about control, okay? It's more about our emotions and bringing love into the story, you know. So we're seeing a lot of what's been hidden coming to the surface, especially with those people who are in positions of authority. Okay, and what we have this month is a stellium starting out the month in the sign of Aquarius. Okay, Aquarius is all about the people having the power. Okay, and in the Americas, we can see that the system is breaking down and the people are starting to pay attention, take control. Okay, so we have, Mercury in Aquarius right now, Venus in Aquarius right now, the Sun in Aquarius right now. And we also have two asteroids, Vesta, and Vesta is the virgin goddess of hospitality. However, she's committed to her own internal flame. Okay, so when we're talking about your own internal self, God, that's where Vesta is touching in on us, is for us to remember who we really are. And the other asteroid is Astrea, and she is about justice, okay? And this is what we're looking at right now at this moment in time. We're looking at how that feminine energy is rising. And again, it's called the Kundalini, where, you know, some of us may have thought that that was a masculine energy, but no, it's a female energy. And we all have male and female in our body, okay? We are dual energies. So she's raising the vibration, and it is up to us as individuals whether or not you want to change your frequency, okay? Because either you in or it's going to go without you. Okay, and let's see what else did I want to say. We also have Pluto in Aquarius, okay? So big changes, transformation energy here. Then we have this full moon in Leo, which is about the heart, you know, thinking, not thinking with your mind, but with your heart, okay? And this is in opposition to this stellium in Aquarius. However, with the full moon, we're talking about releasing things that no longer serve us. So it's a time where we have to get to the point where we have to start shining, okay? This is our time to shine as individuals. So wherever it is in your, what is it, your inner child, where you feel or was taught that you're not enough, you are enough. And you have to change that concept of who you are, because this is about growth. And whether we like it or not, we're going to have to accept where we're headed. Okay? So, with that being said, I'm going to just discuss a few other things that's happening this month. We have Uranus turning direct in in Taurus, okay? And then we have Mercury moving out of that stellium into Pisces on the 6th. Venus moves out of that stellium and moves into Pisces on the 10th. Saturn, this is the big deal. Saturn moves into Aries on the 13th, okay? And that is where Saturn will stay there for the next 2 years. And that's where we have Neptune, and they will conjunct. Okay, we also have there is so much packed energy here. We have the solar eclipse happening in Aquarius, and that's going to be on the 17th. And we also have the lunar new year happening as well, moving out of the snake energy, Kundalini, and into the fire horse. So we have lots of fast paced energy happening this month. So things are going to be moving rapidly, suddenly, shockingly, because we have Uranus moving direct. Okay, and let's see if there's anything else I want to share with you. On the 20th, Saturn conjuncts Neptune in Aries at 0 degrees. Now, this is like a super duper manifesting energy. So, whatever it is that you feel, because it's your emotions that is going to dictate to how your manifestations show up for you in your life. So use your feelings wisely. We also have Mercury turning retrograde in Pisces on the 26th. And the last thing, we'll have Mars in Aquarius squaring Uranus in Taurus on the 27th. Okay, so take a breather. You know, you got to settle in and try not to be reactive, because this passionate, fiery energy is here for us this month. But we need to move with intention and consciously. Okay, so I'll see you on the other side. Hello to my beautiful Leo. Uh, sorry. Hello to my beautiful Leo collectives, is what I wanted to say. How are you? Welcome to my channel, Astro Cheryl. I must be getting tired because, I'm starting to make mistakes here at the end of the last forecast, and I had to, sit and talk about it. So now here I am, getting scattered. But part of it is because I haven't eaten yet, and I'm okay. I'm gonna stay focused because I gotta get through this. All right, so just so you know, I did a introduction, sharing with you some of the highlights and a few tidbit gold nuggets, and for your forecast, I'm just going to get right into it. So if you want to know a little bit more about what's happening this month, such as the solar eclipse, the fire horse lunar year, check it out. Okay? So here we have February the 1st. We have the full moon in the sign of Leo. And this is happening in your first house of self. That's the best place to be, right, Leo? You're all about that star. And how others perceive you. Also, your worth and how you think. Just your total package. This is what the first house is you. Okay? So, you may experience heightened emotions around your appearance, your health, or starting new personal cycles, okay? But you also have a push to release outdated self image, your outdated self image, okay? Your relationships may feel strained if your need for independence and the spotlight is not in alignment, okay? Let your inner child know that you are enough and let your heart take the lead, okay? Get out of your head because the first house represents your head and get into your heart because right now with Leo, that's where you need to be. Your heart is all about love, loving yourself more. And the more you love yourself, the more love comes to you. Okay? So let's just, you know, be playful, have fun, and nurture your inner child. Okay? So on the 3rd, we have Uranus stations direct in Taurus. And this is in your 10th house. Now, your 10th house is about your career. It's about the authority figures in your life, your and your co-workers, and it can also represent the stronger parent, generally the father, but okay. The 10th house represents your father, the 4th house represents your mother, but it could be reversed. It just depends on, who gave you most of the attention or, you know, who taught you, who you followed in your family dynamic. All right, so expect radical change like job shifts, promotions, or redefine success paths. You know, could be changing altogether. Expect the momentum to build because Uranus is fast, shocking, quick. You don't even know it's happening. Okay? Urging authentic, this expect the momentum to build. And it urges authentic, unconventional approaches over traditional ones because, That's innovation, Uranus. That is technological Uranus because it rules Aquarius. Okay, so on the 6th, we have Mercury moving to Pisces, and this is happening in your 8th house. And Mercury in Pisces is detriment, so it doesn't act very well in the sign of Pisces. So your 8th house is about transformation, death. This is about other people's money, shared resources, banking, taxes, psychological issues, psychic energy for sure. Okay? So here you may feel drawn to occult studies, therapy-like discussions, or probing secrets. However, miscommunications or overthinking your emotional state can be problematic. Okay, so honing your efforts on researching joint resources like taxes or investments is likely. Okay, so focus because it's hard to focus, with that Pisces energy. But create some boundaries for yourself as well, so that will help you to get things done. So on the 10th, 7 days later, we have Venus entering Pisces, and this is happening in your 8th house again. You may feel heightened vulnerability, drawing you towards soul level merging with partners or close allies. Well, that could really be soulmate energy, where the vibe is there. You are encouraged to heal past wounds through forgiveness and unconditional love. All right? Romantic and sexual connections deepen spiritually as opposed to superficial flings. Now that's a nice place to be, in your heart, because we have that full moon in Leo wanting to connect. And if you didn't know, we have two hearts, the physical one, and then we have one that's invisible that vibrates at the color gold. So you can always tap in. All right. So let's see. Did I say anything? Okay. Shared finances, inheritances, or joint ventures may improve with potential support from your partners and or in-laws. So on the 13th, we have Saturn moving into Aries, and this is happening in your 9th house, and it'll stay there for 2 years until 2028. All right? Saturn is the test. It tests us wherever it is, and because it's active, moving to a new setting at 0 degrees, this is a new beginning of the learning and the growth that we need to take away from this change. Okay, so your 9th house is about your spirituality, is about your belief system. It is about your higher learning, your philosophy, teaching, other cultures, long distance travel, and publishing. Okay, so you are urged to pursue studies that will bring long term results rather than chasing superficial pursuits. Okay, expect hard earned lessons in aligning actions with principles, potentially involving higher education, teaching, or publishing. So, patience and perseverance is required. You may question long held philosophies, religion, or cultural framework. And it's always good to question, where you are. I had to unremember everything that I knew coming into this life, only to learn how to remember what or who I really am. Okay? And that's the whole point of life. It's time for us to remember who we are, because our society has flipped things upside down and we're all confused about it. Okay? I mean, everything that we think we know is a lie. Okay? So now there is this change that is happening. The age of Aquarius we've stepped into already. Now we have Neptune and Saturn both in the sign of Aries, something new, okay? And we weren't alive when this happened before. But anyways, with all these new things that are happening, it's happening so that we can remember who we really are. And some people, may not be able to understand that just yet, but it's time to wake up and remember. Okay, so let me move on into this. This is the beginning of a 36-year cycle. Okay, the cycle has begun, even though these two planets are not going to stay here for 36 years. They're just starting the process. But we have Neptune is going to station in Aries until 2039. And this is your belief system evolving dramatically. What starts as an ideology may soften into mysticism, or your ideology may become more refined after the confusion fades away. So listen up. With Saturn here, Saturn is going to create the boundaries, and it's going to continue to test you until you get it right, because Saturn is only going to be in your ninth house for 2 years. And then after that, Neptune is going to be there for the remainder 11 years. So, this can create a lot of confusion if you're not ready. So Saturn is trying to prepare you, teaching you how to stay grounded, set your boundaries, and stay focused. Whereas Neptune can make you unfocused, put you in the fog, and, you know, and make you more boundless. But you still will be loving, spiritual goals are there, but it's the process of how you get there, okay, that makes the difference. Okay, so we're going to move on to, on the 26th, we have Mercury retrograde in Pisces, and this is happening in your eighth house, and we've already discussed the eighth house. Your communication and thinking slows down. And this transit amplifies dreaminess or escapism. Okay? So you can expect delays or miscommunication in joint ventures, taxes, or in your therapy sessions if that's you, okay? Doubts, double check contracts and confront your fears that are hidden, okay? In your relationships, you may revisit old power dynamics or trust issues and blurred boundaries, okay? So this is bound to show up, okay? Because you're in a esoteric house anyway, which is a transforming house as well. So this could really, you can see behind the veil with this energy here, because this, you can tap into your subconscious, all right? And if you're in therapy, that's another good way to get there, to figure out what it is that you need to let go of. Okay, so on the 27th, we have Mars in Aquarius squaring Uranus in Taurus. And I haven't mentioned this before, but Uranus is in the last degrees of Taurus before it moves into Gemini and stays there for the next 7 years, I believe that is. So Mars in Aquarius is in your seventh house of relationships, and Uranus in Taurus is in your 10th house of career. So we haven't talked about relationships during this. Oh, maybe I forgot something. Did I? I'm not sure if I talked about the new moon in Aquarius in the seventh house. And this is happening on the 17th. Forgive me if I passed it up. I think I did. So on the 17th, this is an activation for you, Leo, because you're opposite Aquarius. And this new moon energy is activating. You feel drawn to unique individuals who challenge the norms, and it also fosters emotional detachment. That's the Aquarius for clear boundaries. Expect fresh starts in partnerships with an innovative or unconventional twist. That's the Aquarius energy. Innovative and unconventional and detached. Okay? And when you're detached, you can have clearer boundaries. Okay? All right. So I'm glad I remembered that. So on the 27th, which is the last day, we have the 7th and 10th house, which I already talked about, right? But anyway, expect abrupt changes such as job shakeups, public controversies, or breakthroughs that redefine your professional image, such as sudden resignation or innovative pivots. So this is happening in your 7th and your 10th house. And, this is about relationships and other people. Well, it's got to be other people involved, right? But, this is about your 7th house of relationships and your 10th house of career. Okay, so those are the two conflicting energies here. All right. So, Leo rising, until next time, bye for now.